Okay, so let's talk about breakups in your 40s. They're totally different than when you're in your 20s and 30s. Alrighty, so let me give it to you. So I've been in a relationship for a few months. Thought everything was going great, and we've had just minor disagreements. But over the weekend, something came up that just my partner's not happy, and they find me to be too controlling, and like some issues came up as far as like our age difference, things like that. And it's crazy because maybe back then, like, I would have taken it a little bit more personal, but now it's totally different. I feel, now it's more of, what is our common goal? Is there a common goal? Are we going in the same direction? And I'm a firm believer that your partner is either going to be your biggest supporter, or they're going to be like your setback. They're going to hold you back. And if you guys are not on the same wavelength, it's going to be hard to ever overcome that. And something about heartbreak in your 40s too is, I don't hide this shit from my kids anymore. I used to hide it. But the thing is that I've realized that through me hiding it, when they ever get to a point in their life where they experience a breakup, they're not going to know how to handle it. So as a Latina, and I don't know if a lot of you can relate, but we were always told, like, you hide the abuse, you hide the disagreements, you hide the yelling, you always act like everything's perfect, because if you don't, then you're failing. And I did that like for several years, hiding just anything uncomfortable. Like, I wanted my kids to always just see that everything was perfect. But you know what? It wasn't. And when it got to challenging times, I probably should have opened up with my kids and talked about it. Maybe we both should have. Excuse me. So now as I'm older, I realize, my kids are also older. They're 26, 22, and 15. And it's about talking, because they can also give me a certain perspective that I might not see, and vice versa. And it's actually nice to understand that it's not about being right or wrong. It's not about who's got the upper hand and who doesn't. It, like, that's not what it's about. It's about like genuinely coming from a place of love, doing everything from a place of love. And I know, like, I got a lot of hate from people because they're like, really, you're moving too fast, you're doing this and that. And it's like, everybody sets their own timelines for anything, and that's okay if you put them on for yourself. But make sure you put them on because that's really what you want, not because you're doing it for someone else. So I don't have a timeline for anybody else. So when other people get upset or bothered because I'm doing something, to me, it's like, well, you need to figure your life out, your timeline. Like, we're not on the same. And this is where I tell people, like, not everyone is going in the same direction, and that's okay. And as a mom, like, now I'm just like, I know where I'm going. I know what it is that I want in life. And I'm to a point where I'm not going to settle for less. And I don't want anybody to ever settle for less with me. I want the person who I'm with to be happy to be with me. I want them to be proud. I want them to be my biggest supporter. And I'm going to be theirs. And it's so important to talk about these things and make sure that you're on the same level as far as your thoughts, your goals. I get a lot of like clients too who they're like, Martha, I want to invest in this business, but my husband won't support me. And I tell them, like, at some point you either need to have that uncomfortable conversation or figure out what you want, because you not living your purpose, fulfilling your dream and what you want, that is a rough way to carry out your life. And I don't think anybody deserves it. And I feel like we have been told, like, nope, you got to settle. You got to you're there, make it work. And it's like, sometimes you can make it work, and other times you can't. You don't want to force it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want any man to ever have to love me out of fear. I don't want any man to feel like he can't approach me and talk to me because I'm going to be upset, and vice versa. And just like if a man makes me feel safe, I also have to make him feel safe. And if I don't, then that's something that that person needs. And I think back in the day it was like, no, make it work. Like, and it's like sometimes you just can't, because then you're asking someone to change or chip away who they are to fit something else. And I feel like we get stuck in that. It's like, no, we are going to make this work because I don't want anybody else to tell me I failed. I don't want to hear, like, you didn't fail. You're living your life. This is part of it. Analyzing it, growing, talking to your kids now, hearing feedback. That is growing. That is evolving. Like, not carrying any grudges, resentments, hate. That's what it's about. That is what healing is about. And I hope everyone can experience that, because I feel like we all deserve it. Everybody is supposed to be deserving of that. So we're going to keep you posted on where life leads after a breakup in your 40s. But yeah, I hope for anybody out there who's like, I don't want to get out there because, this is what happens. I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of myself for putting myself out there. I'm proud of myself for giving myself the opportunity to love. Like, to me, it's like, damn, girl, good job. Everybody's expecting you to give up on yourself, but good job, because you gave yourself a shot. All right, so keep that in mind. All righty, have an amazing day.